What's up, friends and family of YouTube? Here we are finally with my new Q&A video. Thank you to everybody who did leave questions. I actually didn't receive as many variety and people of leaving questions as much as I would have liked, but the people that did ask questions asked some wonderful questions, so let's get right to it. The first question I received was from Jessica Nanners, and she wanted to know, what do I think about the ideology with a lot of clothing stores that have the one-size-fits-all type of deal. Now, the one-size-fits-all doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, because we've got skinny people, we've got curvy people, we've got plus size people, we've got fat people, obese people, anorexic people. So one size never fits all, and it's sort of a very generalized and very discriminatory term, one size fits all. So I would like to see clothing stores do away with one size fits all altogether. Jessica's second question was, what do I think of the CEO? I had to write this down here, I apologize. Hollister's CEO says that they can't make plus size clothing because they want their company to be exclusively for cool kids. Now, I did hear about that, and I also heard that he made some statements about plus size people or overweight people not being attractive. Now, I think that's extremely sad and extremely shameful for a man, in huge power, a company, a CEO of a huge company like Hollister, to make derogatory and body shaming statements like that. And it really just proves, it doesn't really even matter what I think of it. I think it's disgraceful, I think it's sad, but I also think that it's a reflection of the consumerism that, the type of people that are involved, the type of people that shop at Hollister and Abercrombie and Fitch and all these sort of mainstream, preppy college type of clothing stores. They're not really that open to, more types of body images, because they're catering to the, what's cool in high school and all, the sporty type of bodies and all this stuff. So no shame to those type of bodies, but we need clothing stores to have an infinite amount of, clothing sizes and clothing styles. That's the really only way to have diversity for women, for men and women within clothing stores. So we received a great number of questions from a girl named Tatiana Scarlett, I believe her name is. Hope you guys don't mind me promoting your names. Her first question is, does Andrea go out on dates? If so, cute. And how long does she wait until she reveals herself to girlfriends? That's a really good question. The first one, does Andrea go on dates? Andrea has never been on dates, because I don't initiate my relationships, as Andrea, and I don't reveal Andrea right away till I can trust the person. And I think that sort of answers the second part of the question. How long does she wait until she reveals herself to girlfriends? It could be anywhere between 6 months to a year. I think as I grow older and as I mature and as I grow more comfortable with with Andrea being inside of me and having to express her every so often, I think that the least amount of time keeping her hidden is really the best policy for both parties, for myself and for the woman that I'm going to be having a relationship with. It's not good to have secrets, and a lot of girls, some girls are cool with it, other girls may not. I've never really come across a girl that was not interested, at least, in it. I've never really received any type of extremely negative feedback from a woman about that, so I'm really I've been blessed in that sense. Her second question is, who or what artist inspired you to pursue art? Now, when I was a little child, I remember going to see Van Gogh at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. They had Monet there, they had some Rembrandts, and I think that pretty much solidified and really imprinted in my mind what fine art was, what art could be. And of course, being a child, and every child is somewhat of an artist, but we kind of lose that over the years. So as I got older, I started looking back into Renaissance art, and Van Gogh and Rembrandt and a lot of these other artists that inspired me. But I think when I started to see Titian's art, Titian really extremely inspired me to bring some sensualness and sexy quality into my art, the color, the forms, the shapes of the beautiful women. And I think Titian was like a reawakening for me of why I wanted to become an oil painter, why I wanted to start drawing again. So thank you for the question. Her third question is, define love and how do you know that you have fallen? That's a wonderful question. I think to define love is often hard to put into words, but I really like the poem by Robert Browning that goes, my love is like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. And the poem goes on and on with these romantic references. And I think that's pretty much, love is a celebration. It's a blooming. It's like a springtime. It's a reawakening. It's a new beginning. And it really makes you feel alive. And I think, but more importantly, love is an unconditional, I explained this to somebody and I'll see if I can get it right. Love is an unconditional dedication and acceptance of somebody else regardless of anything else. So basically an unconditional, obsession and dedication, if you will. A totally selfless act where you're totally in love with someone else. And I think when you feel that for somebody else, then you know you've fallen in love. What are your strengths and weaknesses is her next question. That's a wonderful question. I think my strengths and weaknesses, my weaknesses are simply doubting myself, not, really, not supporting myself, always doubting myself, second guessing myself, not believing in myself, and dreaming too much instead of actually acting on my dreams. So I think I regret doing that over the years, and I hope that I could eventually gain more confidence to pursue more outlets, to pursue more things in my life. What are my strengths? I think my strengths are dedication, interest, and seeing the beauty in all walks of life and all creatures in this life, all men and women. I think that's an important thing for people to try to gain in their life, because the more you can see beauty in people, the more less likely you are going to be to judge them or to try to hold some type of resentment towards them. Question number 5 from Tatiana here. I'm just going to call it Tatiana. What possession do you own that means the world to you, and what is its significance? Now, I think that I'm not a very superficial person. My room burned down, this very room, about 9 years ago. My whole room burned down and I lost all my possessions, and that sort of, made me view possessions and money and, objects in a different way. So, besides my awesome movie collection and my awesome CD collection, and my art supplies, there's really nothing that you can take away from me that I would really miss all that much that's not replaceable. I mean, if you take away all my art supplies, you burn all my paintings, I'm going to be a little bit upset, a little bit depressed, but I can always go out and get new art supplies. So I think it's important for humans, especially in the rapidly changing, world environment and world climate that we're living in, to lose that obsession, lose that, overtly strange and unproductive connection to material objects. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Question from a new individual. My buddy Zach wants to know when and how did I come to the realization that I adored plus-size women. Now, I think I have always been interested and always open and receptive and sort of like an open book towards different shapes of women. I've always viewed women from different cultures, different, skin tones and all that good stuff with beauty. I've always viewed a wide variety of women with beauty. But I think as I got older, the more women I was with sexually and physically, that's certainly a factor. Exploring my sexuality, learning the aesthetics of a woman that I can and do and would grow to appreciate. But I think also looking at art and seeing the way that art is also an open book for women's body types, all different types of women's body types, that was a huge factor for me too. And also just looking at women, studying women's bodies, studying the medical and the physiological, physical side, textbook idea, the textbook side of women, if you will, the medical hardcore, stuff that makes women, what makes estrogen, why do women have pads of fat on their body, why do women have periods every month. So being interested in the physiological human aspect of what makes a woman, and also just throughout my daily life looking at women, studying women, and I think once I get on a groove, once I get interested in something, I will sort of obsess over it. So that was most certainly the case with my obsession and love for plus size women. I would find, just go to Google or go to somewhere and type in plus size women. And once I found one plus size woman, I'd start studying, another one, and then a third one. And so eventually you start to get this. I always talk about the colors on your palette. You get more and more and more colors on your palette, the mental palette in this case. And that brings forth a strong awakening and a strong appreciation of a wide variety of women's body types and also men's body types, because as an artist, I do study men as well as women's body types. But I just think that it was simplified, and it sort of came to its fruition when I was able to let go of any type of prejudiceness for an overweight woman, any type of doubts or selfishness about how women were supposed to look. The minute I threw that in the garbage was the second I was able to really blossom into my love and appreciation for plus size women. So thank you for asking that question. It really helps when people ask me these type of questions, because it gets me thinking once again, and it helps me to get back to my origins and how I came to be who I am. Another question from a girl named Hillary. Thank you for submitting your question, Hillary. Hillary wants to know how do I overcome depression, and also what do I do when I'm angry. Now, over the years, I've been guilty of abusing substances, marijuana, alcohol, to try to escape from depressions, escape from anger, frustrations. So I'm going to say that sadly I've used those over the years. Now that I'm growing older and I'm becoming wiser, I think also I've, when I'm really depressed, I'll often lay in bed for hours or days or weeks or however long I need to, crying, getting that grief out, exercising those demons, if you will, getting those demons out of my system. Also, fitness is a huge aspect. Going to the gym, clearing your mind, exercising your muscles, getting your heart beating, and sweating and fatigue and all that stuff. That also helps with my depression. My paintings help with my depression. I'm working on this painting right here. I'll show you. Working on this beautiful woman here. I'm really having a wonderful time. Let me see if I can get that better into the shot there. There we go. Having a wonderful time with my painting. So my art is always a tremendous source of stress relieving, depression relieving, and also an outlet for my anger as well. I think when people are engaged in artistic activities, fulfilling activities, that's a recipe for letting go of stress and anger. So I would say that those are my main two ways of releasing anger and depression. So unfortunately, that is all the questions that we have submitted, but thank you so much to anybody. In case I forgot anybody, I don't believe that I did. Your questions, guys and girls, mean the world to me, and keep some other questions, written down on a piece of paper somewhere so you can remember them for my next Q&A. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you guys next time. And until next time, keep it curvy.